Welcome back to Jaby's channel. I'm SYNTELL with the Intel, and we are going to break down What If Episode 1. There will be spoilers. This episode is based off of Captain America, the First Avenger. A lot of the scenes are almost identical with the First Avenger. Here are just a few that stand out. Captain Carter's suit is almost identical to Captain America, with the exception of the Union Jack on her chest and the Union Jack on the shield. Other than that, pretty close. Actually, she looks a little like Captain Britain, with the exception of the shield, of course. Who is Captain Britain, you ask? Think of him as kind of like a Captain America who was given their superpowers through magic from Merlin instead of super soldier serum. Peggy handles her transformation like a champ. Unlike Steve Rogers, where most of the time in the machine, he's squealing like a little kid. You're supposed to be Captain America. Man up, Rogers. Peggy never lets out a squeak as her cellular foundation is being rewritten in real time. She even gives more blood than Rogers. Rogers may have shown his strength knocking down a few punching bags, but Peggy was redecorating the wall with over 17 steel weightlifting plates. Don't ever let anybody tell you girls aren't tough. Howard Stark is more than just the country's greatest mind. He also has a great fashion sense. When he gave Peggy her suit for the first time, he presents it to her in a box labeled Howard's Designer Clothing. Now, if you think this is hot, you should see a spring collection. Howard Stark obviously feels a little more driven to address Peggy's needs. Not only did he put her suit in a pretty box, he also already had her shield painted and ready to go. Meanwhile, Rogers had to pick his unpainted shield up off the floor. Come on, man. Bros before... Well, you know what that means. Maybe we should call this segment Peggy Carter is Too Damn OP. Peggy hops into the real world to give her powers a spin for the first time. Let's just say finesse isn't really her cup of tea. Instead, she just runs into a Jeep head first. Let's not forget she throws her shield with a sniper's precision. Look how far this throw is. That's like a quarter mile. Life just seems to be all around better when Peggy Carter's wielding the shield. Even prisoner experimentation takes a pause when Carter is in town. Bucky is no longer on Hydra's experimentation table. Instead, he's hanging out with his friends waiting for the rescue.
I'm here for Sergeant Barnes.
Who are you supposed to be? Queen of England?
Hulkbuster, Hydra Stomper, it really doesn't matter when a Stark is involved. All it takes is just a little bit of Tesseract power. Unlike Tony Stark's first design, Howard Stark's suit of armor is considerably more modern for something made in the 1940s. Even the heads-up display shows Jarvis-like technology reflecting dials and knobs and gauges. It looks like a blend between the Iron Giant and the Hulkbuster. Steve Rogers also finds time to paint Hello Brooklyn on the suit's arms. This is a notable change from the original movie Captain America. In the First Avengers, the bombs that would be dropped on American cities are listed by name inside of the Red Skull's massive bomber, the Valkyrie. Things get a little jazzy for Peggy's montage scene as she wreaks havoc among Hydra's forces, all the while cloud surfing on the back of Steve Rogers' Hydra Stomper. Is it just me, or did the Hydra Stomper's takeoff feel a lot like the Iron Giant's when he learned to fly for the first time? In both universes, Peggy and Steve have a heartfelt moment over a stiff drink. In one world, they're both sitting in a bar that was once filled with life and celebration. Now it's in complete ruin, destroyed from the war. Steve sits reflecting if he had done everything possible to save his lost friend Bucky. In Peggy Carter's universe, the bar is untouched. They both enjoy their drinks and really get to know one another. They profess their mutual respect, adoration, and an awkward love towards one another. Let's talk choo-choos. The train pass scene is where the differences really stand out. This is where Bucky Barnes slips and falls to his presumed death. Instead, Peggy saves him when he's about to fall to his death.
You almost ripped my arm off!
It was his left arm too, in case you... The party train continues, but just before you think everything is gonna end all hunky-dory, the train is rigged with explosives and boom goes the dynamite. Fortunately, Steve and his Hydra Stomper are there to absorb the blast. Kind of like that moment when Steve falls on that grenade when he's in boot camp.
Grenade!
Get back! Steve, the Hydra Stomper, and the train fall into the same ravine that was destined for Bucky's fate. The Hydra Stomper is captured and displayed in the same fashion as Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. Now, according to scholars, Da Vinci believed there to be a divine connection between the human form and the universe. Is this something Red Skull is trying to achieve by making an example of those who stand in his way? Steve, laying on the ground, wakes up and tells Bucky that he has to get back into the suit. They charge up the suit like Frankenstein's monster, throw Steve in the back and send him on his way. But not before he falls flat on his face. This is a throwback to when Tony Stark was first learning how to use his armor and he took multiple L's. Like a lot. Peggy discovers where Hydra's hideout is located and she infiltrates it very similarly to the opening sequence on the ship in Captain America Winter Soldier. Red Skull regains the Tesseract and uses it to open up a portal where he can unleash some Hydra-like beasts to inflict his will upon the world. It doesn't really go as planned and he ends up getting squashed like a bug and tossed into the back of the portal like a bag of stinking old trash. So Peggy gets pinned against the wall by the Hydra monster, but she happens to be conveniently next to a sword that she uses to hack off the tentacles of the soul of the Hydra monster and gets free. Now she's carrying a sword and a shield. Sword, shield, she found it, shield, kind of indirectly linked. I'm reaching, no? Rogers, in all of his usefulness, distracts the Hydra monster long enough for Peggy to push it back into the portal. Now we're getting to the part of the show where it gets a little choked up because you know somebody's gonna die. Now comes that point when the heroes have to make the choice and Peggy's about to make hers because she has to push the Hydra monster through the portal. But before she does, she remembers that she's supposed to have a dance with Rogers. Rogers looks out to her longingly and she says,
Yes! Saturday night!
Before she plunges into the depths of the unknown. Kind of like how Rogers plunged himself into the depths of the ice. You see how this is working, right? It's coming together. Support this channel by clicking the subscribe button, hitting the like button, and also leaving a comment. Thank you so much for your time. My name is SYNTELL, and I'll talk to you later.